How many times will you keep telling yourself, I know I'll do it tomorrow, I got time. Tomorrow comes and you're still there, on the computer wasting your time. Booting up a game that you used to love, now it's become nothing more than a chore. Wasting countless hours doing nothing but complaining after losing again and again and again and again until you get fed up. And like the technology addict that you are, you trade one form of entertaining addiction for another. Jumping onto a smartphone to waste even more time on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Only for those who care about you, to remind you to get yourself in order and do something. Anything, just make some sort of effort. And you repeat what you've been saying 1,000 times before. I know, I'll do it tomorrow. And you never do. So you go back to doing nothing, losing all form of motivation. You sit back down in that room filled with nothing but vapid distractions, where time means nothing, sitting at home doing nothing but watching all the people in your life do anything with the limited time they have left on this world, all while you waste away trapped in a world of oblivion. In the blink of an eye, a decade has already passed. And this is where our protagonist's story begins. Yoshio is a 30-year-old shut-in living with his parents after graduating from college. He was unable to land a job. After failing multiple job interviews, he was left to watch all the people around him move on to the next step of their lives, eventually burning out any form of hope that he had of getting a job, leaving him losing all form of motivation, unfortunately falling into the depressive state that lasted 10 long years of his life. One mundane morning, he hears the doorbell ring, and looking through the camera, he sees it's a delivery man holding onto a package with a strange cat as a logo. And as a college student, no, as a man, he immediately understood that he had to go get his hands on that package first. There are some countless stories of fallen brothers who order some racy stuff and forgot to covertly bring it inside, who met their social ends. Especially if that week you thought you bought shonen, but instead you bought a manga that can't be named, and you had to send it to your parents because you recently moved and didn't want it coming into a vacant apartment to get stolen. So yeah, you think, I'll just send it to my parents. What's the worst that could fucking happen? But you forget what you ordered, and your dad picks it up, invading your privacy because, you know, he's your father. So you go visit him to see the open package on the table, and he gives you this look, not of disappointment but also of disgust. But he's tired of talking to you about these weird Chinese drawings. But you explain, Dad, it's not what you think, I swear, it's about a high school boy who wants to produce a movie. When he suddenly ran into his favorite adult actress with a big, warm, caring personality, and she ends up dating a high school boy when she meets an old man lying down on the ground who grabs her by the arm and slaps a button on her before turning himself into a toy and transforming her into a giant. But her clothes don't become big, so she's fighting a giant humanoid looking alien. Cheeks out. It's made by the artist who made Inuyashiki. Hey, follow me! Avoiding a insurmountable calamity, he manages to return to his room and open up a package to find a game called The Village of Fate. Yoshio has been chosen to participate in the beta testing of a new sim computer game that boasts character creation with a new kind of AI replicating human behavior and thoughts. Yoshio, being a veteran gamer, whips out an old PC and loads the game in it, only to be blown away with the high-defined graphics, almost resembling real life. Stumbling into an intensive life-or-death carriage chase, watching as a family is trying to escape from a group of goblins, all while the mysterious swordsman is trying to desperately fight to protect them. He gets overwhelmed and is safe when Yoshio touches a mouse, lighting up the book that the young woman was carrying, scaring off the goblins and saving the villagers. So he decides to become God and help them build a prosperous village. At first glance, it deceptively tricks you into thinking that you're watching a average isekai. Come on, you know the ones, the overpowered power fantasies where if the humans inhabiting that world have two X chromosomes, they're immediately infatuated with the main character, so Chinchin. And I thought it was gonna be like that too. But not only did this manga prove me wrong, but it managed to pull me in with its characters, telling a compelling story while also reminding me that it's never truly too late to improve yourself. Watching a man try his damnedest to improve himself truly has me captivated, and I believe that's what a lot of people reading it will come to understand as well. Personally speaking, I'm not a fan of slice of life anything. I would prefer slamming my nuts against a car door, but something about Village of Fate and the way it's able to tell a story it presents is able to get me entranced with its way of making a mundane scene feel incredible. We watch him do insignificant things, from him getting a job to have an actual conversation with family members. And there's something special about going outside for the first time in years, breaking that mental barrier that has been keeping him pinned down for so long. It's such a nice feeling to read, and it's extremely rare for mangas of this genre to explore these settings. The last time I can remember where the main character's family was somewhat important to the protagonist was in ReZero. 99% of the time, the moment that other isekai protagonist touches the ground in another world, they almost immediately go, well, there's nobody waiting for me back home, I might as well live here. Now, where are those underage slave demi-human girls? So I can liberate them. I just have a minor, and I mean a tiny, minute, micro gripe. It would be the slight over-dramatization of what happens early on. It makes sense, but it doesn't mean that it isn't slightly funny. Okay, hear me out. The town folks are cold, winter is approaching, and they most likely will freeze to death. but it's kinda funny how he just jumps into Rambo mode, into action. When the little girl trips and drops a few sticks, and he reaches out to grab her hand, but he can't because they're in different worlds, so instead he gets extra serious and leaves dramatically. That just cracks me up just a little. Fortunately, as the series goes on, the author corrects most of the main characters' bad behaviors, and as the light novel, or manga, whichever one you prefer, goes on, it focuses more about the dynamic between the main character and his family. The subtle, unspoken, but well-known familial bond that we all have. I have been depressed because I feel like I failed as a father, watching my son go from an ambitious go-getter to a neat, a former shell of himself. Instead, he waits until his son gets the motivation to work. And when he mentions to his father that he's been looking for work and is willing to work today instead of the usual "I'll do it tomorrow," you can tell, even without any well-written dialogue, he's happy. His son is finally getting the motivation to move forward with his life. And as a father, it's his duty to help him. Again, even if that means putting his reputation on the line. He doesn't care and immediately calls a friend for a favor to let his boy work. Sometimes, with family, words are not necessary. And the author from both the manga and the light novel understands this and is able to convey it masterfully. Listen, I'm not a Japanese NEET who ended up getting penetrated by a sharp object, but in some shape or form, I'm able to relate to Yoshio. And if I have to take a wild guess, most likely you aren't either, but you must have felt ostracized by family or society at one point. Felt as if there's nothing you can do except push your problems away just a little bit. And that's something we can all relate to. I haven't been making videos for a long time, but I have been reading and watching anime since my high school days. And eventually, you watch a majority of the anime and start noticing a few things. Mostly how the author just copies and pastes each other. And they just repeat a lot of plot points. But The Villages of Sim is unique. In a sense, most mangas and light novels is pure escapism. Rare that an author would drag you into reality for a bit. And I'm not gonna lie, this Villages of Sim is not meant for everybody. It's more catered to those who has already been beaten down by life and need a little push here and now. It's a little bit slow. There's barely any actions or big titty elf girls, especially if you read the manga, but that's fine. That's not what makes a manga great. It's the way that it's able to make you want to change yourself. And unless you make an effort to change, things won't go your way. I work, come home and play bad games that I used to love, but now it's something more than a chore, and I just repeat the same self-destructive actions that I've had since I was a teenager. And I bet if you've been listening this long, you also want to change. Or don't. I don't know, it got recommended to you by accident. Sorry either way. Almost every anime YouTuber is talking about Chainsaw Man or some kind of generic anime that has been copied and pasted every season with minor variations in its tropes. That I'm shocked that nobody, and I mean nobody's talking about it. Because I found out it has not only been fully translated, but they're selling the final volume in English. Meaning people have read the story and loved it so much that the publishers took a chance and concluded the story. And I'm truly glad that I did the Isekai tier list video. If it wasn't for that little experiment, I would have never been able to find these gems. I wish I could recommend the manga to everybody watching this video, but I'm sorry, there's many themes that come off as too unrelatable. Not because the characters are weird or anything like that, but because some people haven't had the chance to experience some of life's cruelty. But if you have the money or if you've read it before and you liked it, I highly suggest that you support the English translation. There's only like 3 volumes and it doesn't overstay its welcome. I promise that you won't regret it. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for getting to the end. And I'm just gonna come out and say it. At the end of my Uncle from Another World video, I thought it would be cheeky if I put a minor hint in the next video I was gonna make, but I got a little bit distracted by this. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and leaving a comment. Every bit helps. Thank you guys for coming back here all the time, because you enjoy my videos. That just means the world to me. Oh, by the way, I have a second channel. It's Angel's Shorts. The name isn't set in stone. If anyone could give me a better name, I'll change it. But that's where I'll post minute-long videos about mangas that I find interesting, but there's usually not enough to make a full video on it. So leave a like if you liked the video. If you want me to make more videos, subscribe and leave a comment. Well, I'll see you in the next video. I've been God's Favorite Mistake, and I'll see you in a week. I promise this time.